Hello and good day to everybody. Peace, greetings to everyone. This is our Insights with Transformation Leaders segment with amazing trailblazers and business leaders who inspire our audience with their story, their transformation journey, and lots of insights. Today we have with us Reg Athwal. Welcome, Reg. We are so honored and privileged to have you with us.
It's a real pleasure, Dr. Azeeza. Thank you for inviting me onto your channel and your show. Look forward to adding value to your viewers.
Thank you so much. It's been a very interesting meet that we have been, in conversation with, and to have you here with us today. Dear friends, Reg Athwal, as we know him. Reg has been an amazing business leader across the world. He is the executive chairman of the Athwal Organization and Family Office, the Tao Legacy Inc. And he's also the founder and chairman of MD of RTS Global Partners, with 5 operating solutions areas in the space of advisory, education, technology, membership, and investments. And he has advised 178 family business groups. I'm sure it's still counting, from first to 12th generations, with worth of impacting more than $6.2 billion in revenue and equity value. I'm so happy to introduce you to the show, to all our audience, because I love the philosophy that you have: one family, one legacy. I think I can go on and on about you, isn't it?
Well, let's keep it brief. I think the more content and value we can give to your viewers, I think people can check out bios and we can all come up with beautiful bios, but let's add value to your listeners.
Absolutely, absolutely. When we talk about business in general, it's always people love to do business, but at the same time, family business has been a very, very interesting space to operate from, because that's where everything gets meshed up. Yeah. So in your space of focusing and being that person adding value to family business, what really inspired you to get there?
Great question, Dr. Azeeza. Thank you for that. I think we all have things that happen to us in our life, and we call it stories. We all have a story, and sometimes those stories can work against us in our life and stop us from progressing. In other cases, that story can inspire us and move us. And for me, it was my grandfather. My grandfather was a first-generation entrepreneur within our family tree. Right. And he was in India, northern India, building up a sizable, what I would say, a sizable estate. And these days we call it empires, but in those days an estate of various businesses. And second generation, quite a lot of daughters and sons. And in those days, with the cultural side, it was very male dominated. So unfortunately, where the focus was on the male bloodline descendants. And in the second generation, there were 3 boys, and my father was the eldest of the boys in the second generation. So he had a chance to migrate to the UK when he was a teenager through another family member. And he was the first person in the family to have that opportunity to go abroad. And my grandfather's aspirations always was to have his boys in potentially different parts of the world, to learn about those countries and regions, and then see how business or trade and expansion could happen for the family business.
That's quite a strategy.
Yeah, and my grandfather was a visionary. I mean, for myself, from a very young age, the earliest memories I've got is around 4 years of age.
Wow.
We used to travel to India every year from the UK. And I remember one incident where he pulled me on top of his shoulders, and I was strapped around him, holding onto his head. And even now, just talking to you about it, I can actually smell, that smell comes in my mind at the top of his head, his hair, and his turban. And he would walk around the buildings and agricultural land, and sowing seeds into my mind, saying, one day you'll be looking after all this. So he was a visionary. He had big plans. However, just before my 10th birthday, we got a phone call, very sad day in our life, where the phone rang. My father picked up the phone, and cutting the long story short, as soon as he put the phone down, we could see just from my father shivering and going very quiet that something had happened. And then he had just broken the news to us to tell us that our grandfather had an accident and had died.
Oh.
And our generations are very close to each other. So there's only a 21-year gap between me and my father, and just over 20 years between my father and my grandfather with three generations. So he died at a fairly young age. But soon as this happened, Dr. Azeeza, and I know you've got probably loads of other questions to ask me for today.
No, this is really important for us to know.
Yeah, and I witnessed, to add to what, the question you're asking me, I witnessed heartache, lots of emotions growing up, where I eventually saw the second generation going into war with each other over all the assets that my grandfather had developed. And there were a lot of emotional issues, underlying issues in the family, which probably had started many decades earlier with my father's generation, where some of them felt that he was more fortunate to have the opportunity to go to the UK. So the negotiation with the other members was, it's only fair we have more of the assets.
Right.
And my father wasn't having any of that. This led to literally a verbal, stubborn war over 20 years. I watched this growing up, and this had an impact and inspired me, I suppose, that whatever my grandfather was trying to do, I had to find a way of making sure I could continue that. And we call it by chance, but maybe it's not by chance. It's a bit of destiny based on what we input into our heads. I got involved in the HR area, eventually psychology areas, counseling areas, educational areas, became a speaker. And all of that came together 20 years ago when I met a family business in Saudi Arabia. And at the time, I was doing a lot of work around succession planning and building dream teams and hiring C-level people into organizations. And they said, Mr. Reg, we've got business issues. Can we fly you to Saudi Arabia? And can you spend a few days with us to give us some advice on some of the business issues that we have? And Dr. Azeeza, to cut a long story short, I spent almost a week with them. And by the third, fourth day, I realized, well, hang on, how many family members are here? I kept counting more and more. And there were 47 family members in this family business across 4 generations. And what I realized was each one was telling me different things. And I thought, oh my God, this is like deja vu, based on things that I'd seen in our family business, where if they think they've got business issues, they don't have business issues, they've got family issues. And if they don't sort these out, they're going to sabotage this legacy. Yeah. And Dr. Azeeza, 20 years ago, that's the week I made a decision that I'm going to dedicate my entire life to this area. And it's my mission and purpose to help as many families as possible, one family at a time, to make sure that they build a lasting legacy and it doesn't break up. And that's what I've been doing for 20 years now because of the inspiration from my grandfather.
Wow, that really, really is so empowering and so inspiring. It just makes my heart expand hearing the commitment, especially when you say that you've dedicated your life. I mean, we witness it. We have an amazing team. You have kind of organically gathered in the clubhouse. I have to mention this, in the Family Business Academy room club, that you are so committed and dedicated. I think it just shines through in the way that you have structured the whole thing. I'm just wondering, do you have a very big team that works on it, or are you the mastermind behind? Are you the mastermind in it?
Yeah, fortunately, I've got a good team. We've got 6 key people in our main team, and then we've got 19 partners across Africa, Middle East, and Asia that are licensed by our company. But in terms of content creation and the architecture, well, I do that because I love it.
Yes.
So for me, it gives me a buzz. It doesn't feel like work. As you know, through the Family Business Academy Club on not only Clubhouse, but it exists outside of Clubhouse as well. Yes. But yeah, I think in the last 30 days, as with the moderators and guests we've probably given over 60 hours of content to the audiences for free. Yes. Yeah. And before Clubhouse, normal conferences or webinars, it would take a whole week to gather that type of information.
That's right.
So I think, a lot of planning has gone into it, but at the end of the day, I'm passionate about it. I love it. And also a lot of the content is in my head. It's just a matter of getting it out. And this platform that we've all been part of allows me to do that.
Yes, and definitely it's not just in your head, it's in your blood. You kind of exuding that, I mean, through the voice, through the work, and right now, through the sharing of your story, that's so inspiring. Now, going into the part where you said about businesses having problem and challenges, and you said it very vaguely. Can we just go a little bit deeper into that? What are the real challenges that family businesses face, and especially for the first generation families as they listen to this? What are the deeper level of clarity they need to have?
It's a big topic, as you know. I wouldn't do it justice just by trying to answer that question, within a few minutes, but I can touch on a few areas if that's okay.
Yes, please.
But it is a very, very broad, big question. We've done research the last 20 years. We've published work on this, and we've broken it down into about 150 areas. Broken down with systems, methodologies, case studies behind it, research of all the reasons why family businesses don't go to second, third, or even fourth generation. I mean, to get to fourth generation, only 3% of family businesses survive and get to fourth generation and build a 100-year legacy. So 97% don't make it. So during that journey, like you said, with a first generation entrepreneur or a family business, there's many things to understand of where it could go wrong. But for now, let me share with you maybe 2 or 3 areas.
Yes, please.
Of things that your viewers and whoever's listening right now could work on. Number 1, it's really important. We have a tool in our company that all our clients use called VIP. It doesn't stand for very important person. It's an acronym. So the V in VIP is about vision. Where are we going? Okay. Most families that we work with, whether it's just a husband and wife or 2 brothers or 2 sisters, 2 family members who've come together, when we ask them, where are we going over the next 5-10 years, 2 people from the same family can potentially give us 2 different answers.
Yep.
So the first thing is around really getting family alignment, business alignment of where are we going. I call it getting to the end of the rainbow. And at the end of the rainbow, there's a treasure box. What does it look like and what's in it? Okay. Yep. Even though the rainbow can shift, and that's okay, the vision may evolve and change over time, but where are we going? Number 1. Number 2, the I in VIP is intention. Okay, intention is a very powerful word because really what it means is backed with willpower and determination. It's not a wishy-washy goal. Maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't. So for me, intent is breaking that vision down into maybe 3, 4, 5 areas of things short to medium term that need to be done that will get us closer to that vision. And again, getting alignment of what those intentions are. So that's the I. And the P, or I could spend a whole day talking about this, is purpose. And the purpose is, so the vision is where are we going? The intentions are what must happen to get there. And the P, purpose, is why are we doing this? Why? Why do we want to build $1 billion company? Or why do we want to be the best in hospitality or in our carpentry business or our plumbing business or our restaurant business? Why? What's driving that from the inside? Like I've shared my story earlier with my grandfather. That's my why. My why's come from that. Yes. So what's the why for the family? And normally this process takes about 2 to 3 months to do with a family. And if any of your viewers want to reach out to me through social media or connect through your company,
of course,
I'd be happy to share some articles around building your VIP. So that's the first one. I would say get alignment and build your VIP as a family. The second thing, go ahead. I think you had a question.
Yeah, this conversation you're talking about VIP, and that's like what you said. It's not something that we can just close off in a day or in a half an hour conversation. It sounds so similar: vision, intention, and purpose, right? But yet they are so different.
Correct.
So you really break them up into like so deep. I'm sure I can see that happening for people.
Yeah. So we break it down, and then outside of this, the other thing that we do is eventually all of that information is put into a one sheet, one page. And that one page is what we use with our family clients for every meeting, every board meeting, to create accountability.
Nice.
Because most people get distracted with another entrepreneurial idea, or there's a tornado or hurricane within the family business, or there's a pandemic. All of these things impact us. So the key is to keep the focus. That's what the VIP tool can give. That's first. Second thing I would share, of why family businesses don't, carry on second, third, fourth generation is because the family members don't really understand each other.
Right.
Lack of communication is the number one reason why families fail. So
Yes.
to create better communication, there are many tools out there, psychometric tools, personality profile tools. We've got our own, which we've created the last 20 years, and tens of thousands of people have been through it, which is called DNA profiling. And the DNA profiling is based on a matrix with 9 profiles, and behind it, there's 72 different versions of those blends of profiles. And every family we work with, we've spent at least 2 to 3 hours with each family member profiling them.
Wow.
And understanding their strengths, their weaknesses, what are their internal natural talents, and how do we unleash those in the family business, and what are the communication codes for each of the family members so they can communicate with each other better, because we're not the same. I mean, Dr. Azeeza, you're not built like me, and I'm not built like you. We've all got different ingredients, as we call it, DNA, not from a medical sense, but a metaphorical perspective.
Yes.
That who are we on the inside, not on the outside? On the outside, many people can wear masks with their personalities. So we want to get to the heart and get to the core of what's going on the inside. And once we share that with a family, it gives great clarity to understand, oh, that's why my father's like this. Oh, that's why my sister's like this. Oh, that's why my mum's like this. So now I know I need to present information to them in a certain way, number one. And number two, to grow the family business, let's take on board the profiles and see what the right job role would be for everybody in the family business. Because if you, like you said to me, I put a lot of effort into training in the academy. Well, that's because I love it. Yeah. And that plays to my strengths. So if you're playing to your strengths, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like you're actually playing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that would be the second thing. I've got more I can give you, but I'm sensitive with time. I hope that helps.
Yeah, definitely. I know you have a wealth of knowledge, and for sure that is something that we want to, further enhance. So you're giving us fabulous solutions on how businesses can move forward in families. And you did give some statistics about the failure rate of family businesses. What is the one or two thing you feel family business can do to keep their legacy going? I know you've given that, model, but is there anything else that you feel a solution, especially when we know family businesses in general, and you have some statistics, you want to share that with us here in this audience, and as well as what do you feel can lengthen their life in business?
Yeah, great question. Thank you so much for that. I think one of the things that we focus on a lot with families to build a foundation, I always refer to, I'm based in Dubai, so if I take the Burj Khalifa, for example, tallest tower in the world currently, even though there's others who are going to beat that soon. But I remember when I first came to Dubai 15, 16 years ago, and they were working on this big project. It took them a number of years to build the foundation. Okay, we used to drive past all the time, and all you see is a big hole. And it took years to build that foundation, but once that foundation was built, literally we could see floor by floor shooting up every week. And in record time, we could see the tallest tower in the world being built right in front of our eyes. And I refer to that as a family business where it's about family first and business second. Okay. Nice. Now, some may be listening and go, Reg, really? It should be business first and family second. I know it's all about business for a first generation or second generation family business, but as the family becomes bigger, if you don't switch it now to spending more time on the family piece, eventually there's going to be conflict and an issue. Yeah. And if that blows up like a volcanic eruption, it will eventually impact the business. And that's why a lot of family businesses don't survive.
Yeah.
So the foundation is really about the family piece. And one of the tools that we build out is called a family values charter. The family values charter is about understanding what are the 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe maximum 10 values that are non-negotiable as a family.
Okay.
So think of it like a superstructure. If those values represent that bedrock and foundation, it's so solid that even if there was an earthquake, that building may move, but it's not going to shatter and not fall down. Yeah. And for me, family values, once you agree on non-negotiables that this is how we want to behave as a family, these are our family codes. Now, it doesn't matter what business we're in or what comes up in the future, what the strategy is, how we're going to grow, money questions that come up and decisions. but the bedrock and the foundation is based on those values, which become guiding principles, family codes, and non-negotiables for the family. So I hope that helps. That is probably the one thing that all the listeners who are sort of listening right now should work on.
I think that kind of explains everything, where the foundation is, the ultimate. And your explanation on how strong a foundation is. If not, we're just a pack of cards. And that's where, family businesses or any business get blown away, because we are building on with a pack of cards, not a real foundation in growth.
Yeah, right? I like that card, especially if the Joker turns up.
Say that again?
You said pack of cards, especially if the Joker turns up.
Yes, that's right. That's a good one. So this is what we want to, really inspire people with. Our audience are business leaders, and many of them are in family business. Sometimes the women don't play a very strong role in the business. So if we want to round off the session by just putting a little bit of insights to what do you feel the role of women in a family business is, and how much can they play a role in fact?
It's so important. I mean, we've seen an increase of almost now 30% of the 178 direct clients we worked with. Almost 30% now have females within the business, and more importantly, more and more of those females, those women, are on boards, family boards and business boards. Yeah. And all the boards that I've been on as a non-exec director or a non-exec chair, having women, and ideally that balance, of male and female on the board from the family, makes a huge difference. I mean, at the end of the day, a mother is the one that gives birth. 8 billion people on this planet would not be here today if it wasn't for a woman. So there's almost like a sixth sense. There's an extra bit of DNA there, and energy, and sixth sense, and instinct, which men don't have. And so for me, I think having that balance is really, really important, not only on a board, but also looking at the family matters to drive unity and harmony and have more communication in the family. And if next generation can pick up both from men and women, okay, from the family, then we've got the right balance, because you need both. It's not like you just need one of them. You need the balance from both, because men are just built differently.
Yes.
So what I'm seeing is also with next generation females, the younger generation, young adults, I'm also witnessing a lot of fire in their belly more than the men, more than their brothers, almost like they've got something to prove. And what I'm seeing is admiration from the fathers going, wow, my daughter's got like such a great entrepreneurial flair and spirit. And as we start seeing these case studies, and these women come to the platform like you are, where they can, through a channel like this or some medium, to have a voice and share their story, I think we'll end up empowering even more next generation women to have leadership roles. So for me, in a nutshell, it's absolutely critical and important.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Reg. It's really, really wonderful that we could have such constructive conversation. Most importantly, your story that is so moving, and everybody would want to know how to get in touch with you. We have the website that we'll put into the chat box, and you can reach out to our Go Global Business School to get in touch with Reg. We're so happy that you're able to be with us today. So give us one final tip. We cannot leave you without giving us one final tip for any family business to thrive in today's environment.
Yeah, I think the last thing I probably want to leave you with is greatness or building a legacy takes time.
Fantastic.
So if somebody's impatient or wants to cut corners or is not prepared to put the time in to mentor and coach the next generation or resolve issues that the family may have, not prepared to put the right structures in place, then you're not going to build a lasting legacy. Families who we've studied and worked with that have been around for 300, 400, 500 years, can you imagine, 12th generation and beyond, are families that, Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say. So greatness takes time. Be patient. Just remember, everything you're doing right now, you're probably only scratching the surface of building a legacy. There needs to be a concerted effort where at least 3 generations while they're alive, ideally, most cases people would have about 3 generations that could be alive at one time. If all 3 of them are committed to this purpose, and are putting in the right effort and time into making this happen, you'll end up building a legacy. But if all you're doing is cutting corners, or let's build a quick strategy, let's build a quick family constitution because we think it will help our family, this is not the way to do it. This requires what I call habits to be built. You need habits as a family where this is being expressed and executed on a regular basis, where it becomes your life. It's automatic. It's a new operating system that you've upgraded, and everybody in the family is practicing this all the time. So it's not easy, but it's worth it, because if you get it right, imagine 100 years from now, your family business is still around, your family name is still around, making a social impact and impacting communities. And that for me is very special. It's worth it. Greatness takes.
Yes. You said it is about legacy creation, and family businesses taking on a commitment to create a legacy for themselves, and a world full of family businesses will be so enlightening for everyone to live a prosperous and fulfilling life. Thank you so much, Reg, for your insights.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you so much, Dr. Azeeza.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm sure you have a completely fulfilling time hearing on this. Work on your family legacy, work on your family values, and look at what else can happen for yourself and for your loved ones. This is Azeeza Jalaludeen, a project of Go Global Business School. We'll see you in our next session. Thank you, and God bless.